Chapter 4. Secretary to Mr. Heatherstone. When Edward arrived back at the cottage, Humphrey came out to meet him, and his face was unhappy. "Oh, Edward, Jacob is very ill. The girls are with him now. We think he's dying." Edward hurried inside, and the 4 children stayed by Jacob's bedside all that day. In the evening, Jacob spoke to them all very lovingly, one by one. Those were his last words, and a little later he died. The children cried for a long time, because they dearly loved the good old man. The next morning they buried him under an oak tree behind the cottage, and they planted wild flowers above his body. "We have lost a good friend," said Edward. "He saved us from the flames of Arnwood, and he has looked after us since then in his cottage. We must now look after ourselves and try to be happy together." 6 weeks went by, and then Oswald Partridge came to visit them. "How is the old man?" was his first question. "We buried him 6 weeks ago," replied Edward. "I'm sorry to hear it," said the forester. "He was a good man. And how is your arm?" "Nearly well," said Edward. "Now, sit down, Oswald. Tell me, why didn't you visit us sooner?" "In a word, murder. These terrible Roundheads have killed the king." A few days after the fire, Mr. Heatherstone went to London. He told me to stay near his cottage, to look after his daughter. In London, he tried to stop the murder, but Cromwell and his men didn't listen to him. He came home yesterday and told us all about it. "The king murdered?" cried Edward. "How can they murder a king?" "Well, the time will come. If I cannot fight for the king, one day I shall fight against his murderers." Oswald stayed to eat dinner at the cottage, and was very friendly with them all. He stayed the night, and the next day Edward decided to tell him their secret. "Colonel Beverley's children?" said Oswald. "Well, this is happy news. And it's true, Edward, that you don't look like a forester's son. Mr. Heatherstone thinks that too. He has asked me lots of questions about you, and he says that he will visit you himself to thank you for saving his daughter's life. But I'll keep your secret, and I shall be happy to help the Colonel's children." "Then can you tell me how much to pay for oatmeal and salt?" said Edward. "And who will buy deer meat and pay well for it? You see," he went on, "now that Jacob is dead, I must go to Lymington myself to do these things." Oswald told him the names of men who would buy deer meat and ask no questions. "But be careful, Edward. Mr. Heatherstone would like to help you because you saved his daughter's life, but he cannot save you from the soldiers if they catch you killing the forest deer." During that summer, Edward and Humphrey went hunting together when they needed meat. They kept a careful watch for strangers, but they knew the forest well now, and could move as silently and as cleverly as the deer. Humphrey's farm was getting bigger all the time, with the vegetable gardens, and the chickens, and cows, and pigs. It was hard work for them all. But the children never went hungry, thanks to Jacob Armitage's teaching. One day, Humphrey was out in the forest, getting food for the pigs, and he found a Spanish gypsy boy lying on the ground. The boy was nearly dead from hunger and thirst, and Humphrey carried him back to the cottage. Alice and Edith looked after him, and when he was well again, they asked him to stay and work on the farm. The boy's name was Pablo, and he was about 15 years old. His English was not very good, and he had no friends, no family. He was happy to stay at the cottage. "Lost in the forest, no food, no water, nearly dead," he explained. "You saved my life. Happy to work for you. Happy to have food and bed. Happy to have new friends." It was nearly winter when Mr. Heatherstone, with his daughter Patience, came to the cottage. At first, Alice and Edith were afraid when they saw his tall hat, but he spoke kindly to them all, and Patience took Edward's hand and thanked him again and again for saving her life. Then Mr. Heatherstone spoke to Edward. "You saved my only child from the fire, Edward Armitage, and I thank you." "Mr. Heatherstone, I cannot understand you," Edward said. "You are a good man, but you are a friend of Cromwell, who has murdered the king." "Edward, you are young, and you can't remember the troubles in England because of King Charles. He never listened to Parliament. He did only what he wanted, and the people were very angry. They fought because they wanted to be free. But now Cromwell and his friends will listen to nobody. They have murdered the king, and they are worse than he ever was. One day the people of England will be free again, but for now we can't speak of these things openly. It's too dangerous." "Thank you, sir," said Edward quietly. "I understand you better now. I'll try to be careful, because I want to fight against Cromwell when the time is right." Mr. Heatherstone looked kindly at Edward. "Now, I want to help you. You know that you were born for better things than a forester's life. I would like you to be my secretary and live at my house. I will pay you, and you can help your family. Don't answer me now. Talk to your brother about it first." Alice and Edith made dinner, and they all ate together. Patience enjoyed the farm very much, and she liked Alice and Edith. "We shall all be friends," she said when they said goodbye, and she smiled her beautiful smile. Later, Edward talked to Humphrey. "What shall I do? I want to be a soldier, not a secretary," he said. "You're too young," said Humphrey. "I like working on the farm, and now I have Pablo to help me. I know that you want to get out into the world But for now, you must take this job. Mr. Heatherstone will be a good friend to us all." So Edward bought a black suit and a tall hat, kissed his sisters goodbye, and went to live in Mr. Heatherstone's cottage. Every morning he wrote letters for Mr. Heatherstone, and every afternoon he spent time with his daughter. He began to like Patience very much. Every week he rode across the forest to see his family. Sometimes Patience went with him to visit Alice and Edith. And so a year and more went by. The next winter there was a lot of snow, and travelling was difficult. But in the world outside, things were happening, and news came to Mr. Heatherstone in the spring. "The king's son has arrived in Scotland, and is now King Charles II, he told Edward. "He's coming south with his army to England, and I think the time is right for you to ride north and meet him. I'll give you letters to some friends who will help you." And so, the next morning, Edward said goodbye to Patience and kissed her hand. She cried to see him go. Then, with his father's sword by his side, Edward rode away on Mr. Heatherstone's black horse to fight for the king at last.